Today, I'm going to be going over some of the most commonly asked questions that I get about living here in Sarasota. Yeah, well, we are really lucky here in Sarasota because we have had an A-rated school district for as long as I can remember, honestly. And that's such a big pro to consider when people are moving here from somewhere else. Like, people are used to fighting and getting their kids on a list when they're born just to get into the best schools. Here we have so many amazing options. We have great district schools, and you can also do school choice here. So even if you don't live in the district, you can choose to send your kid to a different school. And our public schools are free and they're top rated. We also have private school choices that are wonderful, that have been around for a long time and are tried and true. So really, you can find great options no matter what you're looking for. I do understand that problem, and I think that's why we've just seen such expansion both north and south of Sarasota. To live in Sarasota, you're going to pay a premium. You're close to the action, you're close to all the things that people want to go to, the downtown programming, the fireworks, the farmers market, the parades, that's all happening downtown. And so to live there, you're going to pay the premium. Now, if you don't mind to drive, there are several options. You could live in central Sarasota, you can live on the outskirts of Sarasota, and then if you're even looking for maybe a newer home at a more reasonable price, we have new builds in Parrish, we have new builds in Northport, so people are just expanding farther and farther out. And almost the beauty of that is that, in Parrish, you can commute to St. Pete, you can get to Tampa. So you're on the outskirts of Sarasota, but you also kind of start to be able to get to other things. And then when you're in Northport, you can do an easy drive to Fort Myers, so there's really some benefits to being in between. However, I think Sarasota is always going to have a premium just because Siesta Key Beach and our cultural center and hub is really here in the heart of Sarasota. Well, first of all, we are so lucky that we can even have this topic of multiple beaches in the area. Like, pinch me, because we can drive to all of these, and that's so amazing. If you are in Sarasota, either for the first time or for forever, you cannot miss Siesta Key Beach. It is just consistently ranked as one of the top beaches in the US and often the world. It has this beautiful white sand, which is like powder. It has a huge depth to the water, so even when it's crowded, or I should say, even when there's a lot of people there, it doesn't necessarily feel crowded. You can have your own little place to set up. So that is number one not to miss beach in Sarasota. Now, we have lots of other little beaches around. We have Lido Key Beach. They just redid a beach renourishment there. They redid the snack bar area there and the restrooms. So that's really come a long way. And it's a beautiful kind of more low-key, private feeling public beach. And then we have beaches all the way from, Longboat and Anna Maria, all the way down to the Venice Jetties and Casperson. So depending where you are and what you're looking to do that day, you can find one that suits what you want to do. Yeah, the lifestyle here in Sarasota is a good one, and that's why people keep moving to Florida, people keep moving to Sarasota. We're consistently one of the top search metro areas on websites like Realtor.com, and we continue to have people, choosing to make their home here. I think one of the reasons why is kind of like the character of the people here. They say you're a product of the top 5 people you surround yourself with, and if you think about who you surround yourself with in Sarasota, we have big business executives, we have retirees, we have philanthropists, and if you're willing to dive in and go to things and get out there and meet people, I find people to be very generous with their time and their knowledge, and that can really help a young professional grow their career because they have access to these people that they may not have in a different city. Yeah, we have a lot of annual events here in Sarasota. For New Year's Eve, we have fireworks downtown. They set up a carnival just for one day in downtown Sarasota, which is fun, with fair rides and And then they do the pineapple drop in the middle of Main Street in Sarasota. So it's like the Times Square ball coming down, but it's a pineapple because, hello, tropical in Sarasota. And then let's see, spring break's a busy time in Sarasota. I wouldn't say there's necessarily an event surrounding that, but just a lot of people here. We have 4th of July fireworks at the bay. We have powerboat races in the summer. We have boat shows that attracts a lot of people. There's constantly like music festivals, craft fairs, art shows. They do like Porsches around St. Armand's Circle, so car shows, just something going on. So usually if you're walking in one of the main commercial areas, you'll run into some sort of fair or festival on the weekend. October, we have pumpkin patches out east at some of the farms and the groves out there. We have you pick strawberries and tomatoes and things like that. And then come December, I think there's too many to name, but UTC, the mall area, does fireworks every Saturday. They have a light show, they have ice skating, they have movies on the lawn. I mean, there are so many things to keep you busy year round here in Sarasota, and the holidays just kind of amplify the number of things going on. I don't commute, luckily, so I have found that the secret to getting around a long commute is to really be very specific about what you want to do and where you want to go when you're purchasing your home. So the closer you can get to the things that you're going to be going to on a daily basis, the shorter your commute is going to be and the less impact traffic is going to have on that commute. Also, the fewer trips you can take in a car and the more trips you can take by walking or biking. I'm a huge proponent of that. It's always going to increase your quality of life because then you're not sitting in traffic. So I think when choosing a home, that's really important things to think about. Now, if you aren't lucky enough to end up right where you want to be, or say your kid loves horseback riding and all of a sudden you live downtown but you have to drive out east, yeah, you're going to have a longer commute. So you're just going to have to plan for that. Carpooling helps, leaving at different times of day helps, but like any big city, that's just going to be the reality when you're on the road at peak times. Yeah. Hurricanes really rocked us this year, so certainly a relevant topic in Florida anytime, but this year even more so. The threat is always there. Anywhere you live, you're going to have a threat of some sort of natural disaster. So hurricanes are our main threats. The wonderful thing about hurricanes is you have a lot of warning, like days warning. So if you feel really threatened by it, if it's coming at your area or you just don't want to deal with it, you just evacuate. And again, easier said than done. Like there is, there are some things that come along with evacuation that can be stressful. And then preparing your home for a hurricane can be, taxing on some people as well. But you just need to take that into consideration. It's definitely part of the lifestyle here. I think one of the most heartwarming things we've seen out of this year and a busy hurricane season was neighbors helping neighbors and people coming together as a community to put up those shutters or clean out that house or whatever needed to be done either in the preparation or the aftermath of the storms. So no one wants a natural disaster, but the way that Sarasota has come together to clean up and recuperate after our busy hurricane season really just made me feel even more connected here. I can try. Kind of one of the jokes in Sarasota is like, what job? Because no one seems to have a job. Everyone is always out in the middle of the day and you wonder, what did these people do? And then you see their home and you're like, okay, really, what did they do? They have to do something. But I think that just kind of feeds into the Sarasota lifestyle is that there are a lot of entrepreneurs here. So there are people that have either started a business and sold it and decided to come either start their next venture or just kind of, live out their retired lifestyle here in Sarasota. Also big time executives that have done a career in the corporate world retire here. As far as like finding Fortune 500 companies to work for in Sarasota, we're not necessarily the hub for that. There's a very small handful of large companies to work for here, but you can find them. And they do bring a lot of people from out of state to Sarasota. But I'd say it's a hub for that exciting startup entrepreneur type of environment here. And that wraps up me answering some of your most commonly asked questions about life here in Sarasota. Did I forget one? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you about it.